Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Over Beer. I am your host, Ben Surratt, and today I'm in Grafton, Wisconsin. Wow, what am I doing down here? I don't know. And I'm here with some lady.
A lady.
Who are you and what do you do?
Who are you? Ben, what a delight to be here.
Oh.
For you to be here in my home.
Thank you.
Right on the edge of Port Washington and Grafton.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah.
There we go. And my name is Mary Voell. And I started a company 20 years ago called Legacies. And the sole mission of Legacies is to help families write their family stories. A lot of people think that that's genealogy, and genealogy is only a part of it. It's really only a small part of it. It's capturing the stories and preserving those stories.
Yeah, I can't wait. We've talked many times about your business and what you do, and I just think it's so unique and different. So I can't wait to get into that. But before you do,
Okay.
Mary, this is Business Over Beer. So I did bring myself a beer, okay? And I brought the Yingling Lager, the oldest beer in America.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
But you said it's pronounced actually a different.
Yingling.
Yingling. What is that? She's like, I don't know. It's fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
There we go.
That's a good sound.
That's a good sound. Yeah.
So, okay, let's just start from the beginning, Mary.
Yeah.
How the heck did you get into this?
It is such a wonderful story. Like a lot of people, and I think a lot of folks who always dreamt of starting their own businesses. I've been into a lot of things for many, many years. And I was in theater and music for a long time. I was a college professor for a long time. I was in marketing and development for a long time. And so, yes, I am that old, but each of them were long durations. But it was actually, and I know the date, my mother passed away in 2001. And how people at funerals, right, say, oh, I wish I would have asked my mom or my dad or my aunt or my uncle more questions. And the light went on at that moment. The light said, I want to do something that helps that process. And that's when Legacies began. And it was really doing smaller stories and smaller things, but over the years now, it's grown quite a bit.
Yeah. Do you remember your first client?
Close to first.
Okay.
Close to first. She was already deceased, and the organization wanted some of her history, some of her biography pulled together.
Sure.
And for the Girl Scouts of Milwaukee area. So
Oh,
it was,
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that was one of the first.
Wow. When did you realize, I guess, that not only this was beyond just did it start as a passion project, I guess, maybe? That's the first question. Did it start that way?
Well, I really enjoyed it. And the interesting part, I think, about what I ended up doing and do is that one of the volunteer projects that I do is for, I'm from Milwaukee, and it's for the parish that I grew up in Milwaukee, St. Sebastian Parish. And I volunteered after I moved out of there to help with their archives. In helping with their archives, and very few churches, they have stuff. They have a room, all the stuff is over there, but never making it manageable and accessible to a broader group kind of a thing. In doing that, I find out, and I think that's the value of doing church work in some cases, is my mother did all of their parish history. And I keep coming across her name, written by Donna Voell, or written, that kind of a thing. So my parents raised 8 kids through that parish. So they were involved for quite a few years. And then my sister picked up the genealogy bug from her, did a lot of work on our family, our personal family. So It's literally in my blood.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have seven siblings.
I do. I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I know. So, and all of them went to St. Sebastian.
Wow.
So that was really in the kind of the Washington Heights area of Milwaukee.
Where were you?
Right in the middle.
You're right in the
Pretty
middle?
much in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you and your sister had that.
And well, there were 6 boys and 2 girls,
Okay.
myself and my
Oh,
sister.
wow, okay.
Yeah, so we had
geez.
a wonderful connection, and she just passed, and so it's a matter of going back and telling her story. Yeah, we never really did capture her story while she was living. We did in ways.
Right.
And her kids are around now too, so
Sure.
it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. That'll be wonderful.
The thing that I find, and this is why I think you and I, this just came to me, just listening to you now, is I think you and I have a little bit more in common than I thought, and that is wanting to find out the story of people. Why do you think that is so important to tell your story? I mean, why is that such a thing?
There's two thoughts about that. Some people don't care, and I do come across folks. What's the matter? I don't really care. That's fine, type of thing. But there is science, there is literature, there is research done on if you know your roots, if you know where you came from, you're a bit more solid as the world kind of comes at you. You've got there's a rootedness to it all as the world comes at you. Even as people get older and older too, knowing your roots gives you honor, gives you the fact. Working with a client yesterday, she says, "Yeah, but most of my family were all drunks and all of that." Should I really tell? I said, "Yeah, tell. You don't have to. You get it out. Let's put it that way. Write it down. Get it out.
Yeah.
And whether you put it into a published book, you don't have to. But at least use the research that you're doing in the story." So getting back to your question, is it's also very fulfilling. When I finish a project, and most of the projects are quite lengthy, but when I finish a project, there's this closure. Now my story's been told. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful release, because Václav Havel, past president of Czechoslovakia, I love this quote. He said, "Your life doesn't have meaning unless you tell the story." So it's revisiting it and making sure that that you're telling it.
Yeah. I also think that it's not about, how do I put it, for at least in my world, doing the podcast part and working with small businesses and entrepreneurs, that's how you connect with the people that you want to serve in a way. And not just them, but if you have a company, or even if you have only 5 employees, them hearing why you're doing what you're doing, and how you got to this point, and why you started the business, or why you started what you're doing, I think that's more, to me, attractive if I want to do business with something. That's just how I feel.
No.
You know what I mean?
And as well that that's a very important part of getting to know a customer, a client, a patient, is learning their story.
Yeah.
And it falls into all industries, and how wonderful that is to learn more about them.
Yeah.
And you were so very good at doing that even when we initially met.
We just talked and talked. But I knew, that's why I just connected with me, is we were both really good at asking open-ended questions, I guess.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you're really good. Tell me more about this. Like, oh wow, not everybody asks those questions.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct. I know it.
Do you ever get? So let's start from. Do people find you, or do you reach out to people, or is it word of mouth? Where do you get most of your clients from?
So the model that I use, that I built, it's the model that I built. So there's a lot of people out there who will write your story, a lot of people, that kind of a thing. But I realized early on that so many people have stuff.
Yeah.
The model that I built is fourfold. It's first helping them organize, because a lot of people are overwhelmed with how much stuff they have. So there's a whole series of proven methods in getting it's not everybody's, it's not your dishes and all of that. It's your memorabilia, right? The pictures and the documents and the books and the newspaper articles, things that people have. So getting that organized is the first step.
Okay.
The second step then in the Legacies model is research. Now, a lot of people want to jump into, online research. I say stop. It's to me, it's the Joey and Phoebe thing from Friends. So Joey wants to learn how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And Phoebe says, no, you can't touch it. It takes it away from her,
right,
type of thing. You can't touch it, kind of a thing, until you really live what it means to do that. Well, in the research, we have a tendency of just bouncing out into the internet, into the world of all of this vast, vast knowledge, when in fact, a lot of the information you're looking for is back in the stuff.
Wow.
So get to know what's there first before you open it up and potentially go down rabbit holes, and that's fine. So I call it old school, new school. Old school it's in the stuff that you're saving from your mom's bins or whatever,
right,
kind of a thing. Go through that first, and we organize it and we get rid of duplicates and we start to tell stories. So it kind of gets them in the rhythm. The third stage is writing. So in some cases, I write it. In other cases, the client writes it, and then I'm editing, and I'm moving all of the pictures and the documents and pulling all of the pieces together to make it to you've seen some of the books.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
You've seen some of the books, that they're very extensive.
Yeah.
They're very extensive. So organization, research, writing, and then production. Very few people have ever produced a book, and moving them from what I kind of named it, from imagining what all of that could mean for them and their family, to celebration, to celebrating the actual finishing of a book. It takes time.
I was going to ask, that was my next question,
Yeah.
is like typically, I'm sure everything varies, but if you had to give an average, what's the average time frame?
There isn't an average, because you never
Okay.
know what somebody might have, number one. You also don't know if they're going through any stage of a cancer or dementia. Their health is not.
Oh, sure.
So some families want to move it forward quickly because we never know if grandma's going to be around next year, type of a thing. Or you don't know if that person, the storyteller, is a good storyteller. So sometimes people are just, they remember everything. I have a guy who remembers when he was 4 years old, the names of his friends and what they wore and where they went, kind of a thing, versus people who no longer have a memory. So of those items.
Wow.
So it's this continuum of people who are what I call memory filled. They're able to do it, to the loss of the memory. So if there's the loss, then we go to other family members. We go back into the stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We help to build the story. Historical context is also a huge element. One client, they have a lot of family members who went through many wars. And so we have information on the wars to add to it. Because if you think about it, I always tell clients to think about the future. I was writing something this morning, and she said, and I think my uncle was named, I don't even remember the name, I'll just pretend a name, George Lionel Beer, I don't know, whatever. But she said, and probably he was named after Lionel Trains. But I wrote in an email to her, and I said, you need to put in a little historical context about what Lionel Trains are, because a future generation might not know.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, see? So you got to think about talking to future generations. And because that information is so at our fingertips, it's very easy for us to fill in
Wow.
those gaps, build the story by filling in the gaps.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unending. It's unending.
It really is.
Mhm.
How do you, oh man. I think it's one of my questions actually, but I really want to know, how do you balance? I mean, it's got to be just emotionally draining on some of these. I mean, can it be? Do you get like invested emotionally in?
What a great question. I get invested in trying to tell the story as broadly as we can, because I'm getting anecdotal stories, right? Stories that a particular storyteller can tell me. But what day are we? We're Sunday. On Friday, she doesn't have a whole lot of information. So I'm writing to her to say, okay, now it's time to think about, where was that restaurant? And are there pictures of that restaurant, in the Historical Society archives, kind of a thing. And one thing I love is if I engage with a client, and you asked me earlier on too, if the client, how do I get my clients? So there's also three pieces of what I do. So I have one-on-one clients where I literally am working on them with the book, working with the book. But then I have coaching clients, and clients who they're DIYers, people who want to do it themselves, but they want somebody to help them through, right, kind of a thing. So that's really fun. And then classes. So I also teach classes online for people who want to also do it themselves and learn how to do it. And then one other one, and I know you know about this, is the affiliate program.
Right.
So teaching people the business of doing what I do.
Yeah, that's really smart, by the way.
Yeah.
I just think that's a great model to have because, you can't do it all. I mean, even if you wanted to, there's no way.
Right. And everybody wants to tell their story,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
one of your questions was, what if people don't want to tell their story, kind of a thing. A lot of the client base, the one-on-ones, are usually word of mouth. I realized early on that the marketing of that is very difficult because of the amount of time that it takes and the cost. So there's two elements to one-on-one client relationships. So that's a good thing because usually if I finished a book for one person, they're going to share it with a like group, and the word of mouth works out very well in that regard.
Right.
So, but that's then too, the marketing of classes is a whole different picture. And then the marketing of affiliates is yet another picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it would be, for me at least, it would be very difficult for me not to get invested into the family, into the people we're helping, and the fact that you're able to kind of focus, you want to do right by them. It's almost like you want to do right by them by not getting that, because you want to tell their story. It's not your story to tell. It's their, so you have to be like on that line, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
It's an interesting thing that you say that because, number one, I have to take on, when I'm writing the story, I need to take on their voice. Getting to know them at some level and be able to represent that voice in my narrative type of a thing is very important. Working with a gentleman right now who's a professor, and actually another one. And I actually turned the writing over to another writer.
Oh, you did?
I did, because I felt that their ability to rewrite, to write, to copyright that story was more aligned with, again, this other person type of a thing. And I'm glad I did, because I'm a very conversational type of writer. This person wasn't, the client wasn't, so I needed to find, again, aligning. And one of the things I laugh about is, when we were in grade school, and for sixth grade civics or something, they'd have you, go interview grandma and grandpa.
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
I know.
Yep.
Everybody's done it.
Yep.
And even though I love that, I call those kinds of stories that they're then capturing Kodak stories. They're Kodak stories because they're the ones that are constantly repeated. over and over and over again when you're talking with grandma and grandpa. You need someone of a similar age to interview, because that person is then able to bring up, it doesn't have to be similar age, but close enough where that interviewer has the ability to bring up historical context.
Sure.
Or ask the questions, which can be relevant to bringing it forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because that, you're, even if you're not exactly the same age or even grew up in the same area, you still have that common thing of memories of certain, things in the world.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to ask, were they a part of the Depression? Or to ask,
right.
were they part of the Chicago fire? Whatever it might be, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I have one gentleman who, the blimp, what was the blimp called? Anyway, he lived in Yonkers, New York, when what was it called that blew up?
You can look it up.
That blew it up. It was a while ago. The
Hindenburg?
The Hindenburg.
The blimp, right?
The blimp.
The Zeppelin.
There we go.
Yeah.
So he was on a kindergarten playground when it was going over them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and he saw that. And this is the same guy who met Albert Einstein.
What?
And, all of these things that, and then he passed last year, and his family then had a lot of this already down and were able to bring it forward during his celebration, his massive resurrection or whatever that might be, kind of a thing. So and the fact that people say, well, nobody will read it. But they do. They do. Over time, they might not read it cover to cover, but they open to a page and they go, oh, they start to read, type of thing. So it's really a wonderful way to share family history with current family and future family.
Absolutely. I always like to give my audience and my listeners a little bit of advice. And this is something I've never covered. And I think it would be good to get your viewpoint or your advice, I guess, on this. So gaining trust. Mm-hmm. You have to really be able to gain people's trust, because they're giving you all of this information about the family and about a certain family member, who may or may not be here. How are you able to gain that trust? Is it just being you, or and the second question would be, what would be your advice to business owners who have that question about gaining trust?
Ooh. First response is that my son will tell me, Mom, they're hiring you. So your little element in there was, are they just hiring you? And because the trust has been gained from a relative or somebody else that knows you and who you are. However, the flip side of that is there are folks who want nothing to do with it. And I think sometimes the wife will give the husband a gift certificate to get us started to write his story. And I think I usually kind of start with women and then it moves to the gentleman.
Yep.
Which is really fun. But
I get that, I bet.
And I think there's pluses and minuses to that, because sometimes when that happens, I don't want to tell the story. But over like one or two visits, they will say, Mary, you just have an easygoing attitude about you, right? Yeah. That kind of washed the rest of that away, and then that trust develops after that, which is great. There's also a confidentiality statement in my agreement letter that said I will not share any of this information unless I have your permission.
Yeah.
Right? Because I use my books as samples, and so because of that, I have to get their okay to do that. The books that I produce are only made for family members. They're not out for the general public. So people say, well, do we go through Amazon? I say, no. These are only for family members. So when they're producing them, we're only producing, a certain amount, kind of not an infinite amount, just a certain amount. But the trust element also is, it's just a wonderful way to think that I've done it. I think there's trust in how much time I've been doing this and how many books I've created, so they can see that there's a long line of people who have trusted me to do this.
Yeah.
So that there's, and I think that helps also.
Yeah.
So whenever I come in for a first meeting or something like that, I make sure to carry, with me. They're very heavy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. I dig that. And I think a lot of people, and I'm just going to go back to the podcast first. I'm sorry. But when you said, the books are made for the family members, I think people naturally assume when you say book, it's for the general population or for the general public. And, it's the same with podcasting. We were talking a little bit before. The whole reason why I really strongly suggest business owners do podcasts is not for downloads. There's like billions of podcasts now. It's a saturated medium, but it's not for them. It's for the people that you really want to reach, whether that's family, whether that's, your customers, your employees are a big one. And just like you said, it's for lineage. Just to capture that and tell your story. I don't know. I'm just so passionate about that stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, I am too.
Was there one story that just hits you different? And you don't have to give names or anything, but do you have a story like that you've done, or a project that you did that just like, this is big, or this is, hit me different?
If I can backtrack a little bit, because one of your questions also was, what similarities do you see? What patterns do you see in some of them? And one of the distinctions over time that I realized is sometimes I'm telling the story of a entire generations past, right? And that's the story. So it's not a personal story. It's a genealogical time capsule from the 1500s forward to, right? So it's strictly the genealogical information and the stories that they have and the pictures that they have. One family working with two brothers who had done a lot of the work. It's the book itself is like 450 pages.
Whoa!
It's huge. But they go back to Charlemagne.
Holy cow.
And they've been able to prove it. And I'm also very cautious. You said to people, you said, is there any advice? One of the pieces of advice I will give about that is please be cautious. Please. Verification rule is 3 verifications of any information. So this easy pickings off of websites is hard to because it's so easy, it comes down, but you need verification. So that's number one. But so some of the books fall strictly in the ancestral category, the genealogy category. Others build on someone's story, their personal story. I always try to include the past because I want people to know and to appreciate the shoulders of others that they've been built on. So in that category, the individuals are telling their story, and then we add the genealogical information. There's those pieces. But relevant to unique ones, obviously, all stories are unique.
Sure. Yep.
Obviously.
Yep.
But there are patterns. And one of the things that people love to share is how many places they've traveled to. That's a biggie.
That's a good one.
That's a biggie. And one of the, I'll come back to that later, but how many places they've traveled to. And I love the tone of, and watching them go back in time, in their minds. There's something to all of that. In answer to your question, however, I just acquired a new client who, actually 2 people, excuse me, one gal whose mother, again, you don't know names, so we're fine.
Right.
Who they were living in Germany. They ended up in a concentration camp.
Oh my.
the parents were separated. She was 2 years old. Her brother was 7 years older, a little bit older. Her mother, unfortunately, was raped and killed.
Oh, my.
Her father found the kids, got them out, and then their life continued on, kind of a thing. But that little piece of information just broke my heart.
Oh, my goodness.
And she was 2, she was 2, 3, kind of a thing. Another family is a gentleman who they weren't concentration camps, they were transition camps. And so he, totally different client, storyteller, he tells the story. He has a lot of memories from that time. And he even has pictures and stories and all sorts of pieces. So that's another one that's taken me down, right, kind of taken me back, and I have to spend a lot of time thinking about that. He's writing it. The gal, I'm doing the writing. In this case, he's writing it. But again, making it readable. Again, thinking about your future generation, making it readable and reader-friendly, let's put it that way, reader-friendly in some capacity, right? Whatever that might be. So those are 2 that I'm presently working on.
I have 2. Let me see which one I want to ask first. Well, this is the easy one. Would you ever do anything like? I'm a big Audible guy.
Yeah.
Do you ever do? Would you ever like, or would the people, the families, ever want it in audio form, Matt?
So here's my response to that. Oh, like reading their book in audio?
You know what I'm saying? Like like an Audible.
Like an Audible, reading the book. I never thought of it that way. My initial response early on, when I was first starting out, was that when you do audio recordings, and sure, the comment people say, oh, I love hearing grandma or my mom's voice. I get that. That's fine. But you're never able to tell a full story, right, in that capacity. Right. Because you can only do so much. You can't do, 40 hours of telling somebody's story. You're only doing snapshots of their lives.
Sure.
That's what I like about the book form, is that the format allows you to build stories and do extensive stories type of a thing. To do something audibly, as you're suggesting, I think is viable. I'm going to suggest again to some folks too that are listening. There's a guy, and you might be interested in this, who does this extremely beautiful way of someone telling not a full story, not like these books, but more of a moment in time. And they're called soul biographies, SOUL biographies, soul biographies. And how he does it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I've always been so very impressed, and I always thought if there was ever an opportunity for me to do something, to attach something like that to what I do, that might be interesting.
Yeah, I just love Audible. I'm just an Audible guy. I like to read. Yeah. I like to read on my, my way down here is listening to an audiobook.
Okay.
So I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. I mean, it'd be kind of expensive probably because you got to hire somebody to do the
editing and
then the voice, the talent and all that. Yeah.
Right.
Where do you see AI, just specifically with what you do? Do you think that's going to be a thing that people can start using AI to do? I don't know. Does AI have a role? I guess
it probably will, but I never thought of it.
No,
I never thought of it, and I hold tight to the value of a book. I hold really strong on that. What might scare me, if I thought about it more, would be people using AI to write the book. Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah.
Okay, then I need to put some more thought to that.
Yeah. But the problem with it is, it still wouldn't be. I don't know. I mean, if you're like, hey, I want to do history on look up my genealogy, to AI, you just don't know what it is going to bring up.
That's right.
If it's going to be real or not.
That's exactly right. We just don't know.
So you'd really need somebody to go in, like you said, 3 points of verification. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great thought. I never thought of it. Oh, no.
There you go. How has doing this shaped your view on legacy?
On leaving a legacy?
Yeah, on leaving a legacy.
On leaving a legacy. My family continues to say, Mary, when are you going to write your story?
Right.
Right, exactly. And I'm a single mom with an adult son. And then I think lately, not a lot of people really know about, even my family members know about my background and the kinds of things that I've done on stage and throughout the world, things like that. And I realized they don't really know that. So I think for me personally, I have much of it, right? I've just never sat down and written it because I'm busy doing other people's stories.
Yeah.
So in the bigger picture of things, and how there's a book out there called How to Run a Personal History Business. And it's a hot industry. It's a huge industry because people want their story told,
right,
as I mentioned a few minutes ago.
right.
They really want, but they don't know how to jump in. They don't know how to do it. They'll start and stop and start and stop, and that's all fine, kind of a thing. But it continues to be a very viable business, and because you're talking business here, it's a very viable and can be profitable business for those people who want to jump into it. But because of wanting to leave a legacy, wanting to leave who you were, who you were and who you are, and everything. And people oftentimes say, either my kids aren't interested. That's another one I get. Well,
my kids aren't interested, huh?
I know it. But I say they will. It comes in time. It's something you mature into, to know your background, to know where you come from, that sort of thing. And one of the things that I do in my books is ask the kids and it's usually in the books, what it was like to have so-and-so as a parent, or to live a life, that sort of thing. And those are just treasures in each of the books. And being able to have Grandma or Grandpa read them just brings tears to your eyes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more about my family. You're right, though. You're spot on. In the moment when you're younger, it's like I just want to find my way in the world.
Right.
I don't care about what happened before. But the minute you hit a certain age, or you have a certain life event happen, it's like, oh boy, I wish I knew more.
See?
I wish I knew why.
Yeah, I know it. I've decided now to send, when there's new kids in the family, newborn kids, I'm going to send them their chart, a genealogical chart, so that they at least have something to work from our own family. Yeah.
If you were to write your own, you're middle of it, what would there be? What's one chapter you would want people to make sure they read, and what in a chapter you were like, ooh, you could probably skip over that?
Oh, that's too funny.
You don't have to answer it. Give me the
no. So one of them that I've decided to title "The Men I've Loved," right? So it'll kind of go through all the guys who came and went out of my life, right? Kind of a thing. They don't have to read that, but I just thought it would be fun.
That's funny.
Probably, yeah. I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, I frame it. I'm constantly reworking it in my head and framing it and kind of doing thing. I retitle it all the time. That's the fun part, right? That creative part of you. That.
Yeah. What would be the title, you think, or what's a working title?
Working title. Good approach. Shades of Blue.
Shades of Blue.
And Shades of Blue bring in a depressive period. They bring in my love for water. They bring in all the things that are blue. This National Geographic book talks about different colors and how they apply. So I think That's what I'm working on right now. I'd rather be blue.
We'll get to the song question in a bit. It's like, yeah, I know you're ready for that one.
No.
So I guess one more business question, then we'll move along here. But you were a solopreneur, single mom, you said. What kept you from just giving up and saying, nah, I got too much, I can't do this? What stopped you?
Stopped me from
just giving up this?
Making a living.
Okay.
And having side jobs. I mean, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To do the kinds of things that you do. I mean, I used to do an entrepreneurial class. And any advice you're given, and even in the affiliate program that I created, I said, have a side gig because it takes time.
Yeah.
I think that's what people don't realize. They want it all to happen like that, and it won't, and it doesn't. So you need to have a side gig to support yourself and whatever that might look like for you, but let it evolve, let it become yours. And I've noticed even on some of your podcasts, these darling young people who talk about, their ideas. Ideas are fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Making them happen, right, is a whole nother part of that entrepreneurial curve type of thing.
Yeah.
Letting go, is a great idea, but letting it go for now. And maybe bringing it back at another 10 years from now, you might bring it back when you've got a solid core of either audience or people that you're working with or that sort of thing. So not every idea is the right time.
I love that.
Right?
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to come to grips with, though, especially if it's like your passion.
Right, exactly. And then having enough money to work with it. Right? What I love about what I do is I work from home. There's no overhead for what I do. So it's just in my own mind and how I write and how I create and how I work it. So I'm not dealing with inventory. I'm not dealing with a lot of the other things that a product, right, brings about. You have to have all of that. So having a service company or a service effort is viable. To me, it's viable. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And did you have a support system, like a support group or a
like a networking group?
Not even, but just some, people are like, I'm having this and I need to talk to somebody. Just, did you have anything like that at all?
Probably. I think about that. Probably even just a handful of people, but I really began to trust myself. I've learned to trust myself, and that other people don't necessarily have not been in the trenches like I have been, don't necessarily fully understand what it is that I do, and so I've learned to trust my own intuition and my own ability to make the decisions, make the choices, and move forward. And I'm not to say that I don't tap into other folks, but I don't.
No, I get it. I get it.
Because sometimes it's just too much. It's too much. Oh, I should go here, and oh, I should go there, and oh, I should. The shoulds can kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I should do this, I should do that. And when in fact, you probably have a clear, you have a clear direction of where you want to go and what you want to do. Yeah. I know. So I have a wonderful support group for me personally, and I think that helps. I mean, it's family and friends who are,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I just think it's important. I mean, for me at least, to have, even if it's family. The majority of it is family, by the way.
Yeah.
But you have friends who are just like, I just want to bounce this idea off of you, or what do you think? And then, but when you start hearing, like you said, well, you should do this, or you're like, okay, well, I would rather people saying, I don't like that idea, think of something else. Or I'd rather them be like that than you should try this. Or,
Yes.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The shoulds can get you in trouble.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you ready for your theme song question?
Do you ask everybody that?
No, I don't.
Oh my God! And you didn't even know that I had a musical background.
I had no idea.
Oh my God!
So the question is, what would your theme song be to your business? Or let's just change it to your book. We're making your book. Is it Into the Blue? Out of the Blue?
Oh, Shades of Blue.
Shades of Blue.
Well, then it changes completely.
Well, let's do both. I got the time. And I got a little bit of beer left.
You got a little bit of beer left.
Both.
How is the Youngling?
Youngling.
How is it?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah? Who makes it?
My business over beer glass.
Who makes it?
It's Yingling.
Oh.
It's their beer.
It's their beer.
Yeah, the oldest beer.
Oh my gosh.
I thought, lineage and legacy and
yeah.
Why not have that?
Good stuff.
It's good. It's a regular lager.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a hater.
Not a hater. So, I want to go back a little bit to a couple of like New York Times articles to talk about working with an elderly audience. And I want to say my audience, age-wise, is usually 70s through 80s into 90s. So that age group, because there's just a tsunami of people now who are vital. Years ago, that age group was in wheelchairs and put into nursing homes that were terrible and things like that. Now that third age is just vital and growing, and because medicine is just doing a wonderful job of keeping people active and alive and things like that. It's just a very exciting time. However, this one article says reminiscing fights loneliness and depression in older adults. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, because someone like myself or someone who's doing what I do is paying attention to them and listening to their stories different than their family members, right? Oh, Grandma, you've already told me that story, and so their eyes start to roll and things like that. So all those behaviors that enter into some of the times, unless, as you said, they're open-ended questions type of thing, get to be too much. And so having a third party come in or a second party come in and ask the questions is really wonderful.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
If anybody would like, I'd be very happy to send out a series of questions to anybody that might want any to help do their own thing.
Yeah.
I thought that might be fun to do.
Yeah, I think we'll plug everything that you have and how people can get a hold of you in this too, for sure.
This thing.
Yeah.
All right, so song.
Which one do you want to do?
No, I'm not going to sing them.
Oh, okay. Well, come on.
But because the entrepreneurial theme, let's do that first, the entrepreneurial theme. On a clear day, Barbara Streisand sings, hey, buds below, up is where to grow, up with which below can't compare with, hurry, it's lovely up here. That's my entrepreneurial effort.
Okay, I love it.
Hey, buds below.
You're a good singer.
And in the Legacies work, Sweet Honey and the Rock, this fabulous African-American black group of women, oh my God, they're stunning. They do a song called Wanting Memories. I can't sing that because it's a choral.
Right.
But it's called Wanting Memories.
Memories.
It's really a neat song. Yeah, I love that one. And then James Taylor does this, what does he call it? The Secret of Life. The Secret of Life.
Okay.
And it's, James Taylor doing James Taylor, and it's just beautiful, but it talks about life and the ups and the downs and all of that sort of thing. So, there's so many. And when you asked the question, I had to go back into my little archives of songs, and I thought, okay, those will work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Those will work. I love it.
Mary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I love your home. Thank you for opening your home to me and to all 5 people who are watching. But where can people find you if they're really interested? What should people do to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So I do have a website. It's legaciestories.com.
Okay.
Legacies, and it's all one, LEGACIESSTORIES, legaciestories.com. However, I really prefer emails.
Okay.
I'm an email girl, and it's just info@Legacies. Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's just adding that little info onto it really
Exactly.
it really helps. But this has been delightful, and people who are interested, if they'd like to learn more about what I do, or if they'd like to start their own business, that's the other piece. In other words,
please talk a little bit more about that, if you can, just very high level.
Yeah, so I'm, again, because I enjoy what I do, because a lot of people are retired, but they're looking for something else to generate income for themselves, kind of a thing. Teachers and anybody, who'd love to meet with people and to love to write. So I started a program called Legacies Affiliates, and I teach them my model, that 4-stage model that I talked about briefly, and it's over a period of time, but I don't use the word franchise. I never wanted it to be a franchise, but I do want to introduce what I do to other people so they can do it.
Yeah.
Which is really for other people. It's not necessarily for their own families, but for them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really neat. And then we create a little network of those people, whether it's in Seattle or Florida or wherever it is throughout the United States or wherever.
How many people do you have?
There's about 10
Dang,
affiliates right now.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. My goal had always been one in every state, but it'll happen over time.
Yeah, you're almost there. Well, Mary, thank you again so much. This has been awesome. You're always great to talk to.
Thank you.
You really are.
Thank
You're
you.
fantastic. We will see you all listening later. Bye. We will see you all watching later. Bye, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, you bet. That was awesome, Mary.
That was fun. Very fun.
So I could have probably gone. We went 55 minutes.
Did we? I was going to ask you because you...
Business Over Beer is a Wowee Productions podcast. For more Business Over Beer, visit us at www.bizoverbeer.com.